Shalom and welcome to Who is Yahuwah. Thank you for joining me as we gather today's portion from the scriptures. Today's reading is Barashyth, Genesis chapters 41 through 42. Barashyth, Genesis chapter 41. And it came to pass at the end of 2 years that Pharah dreamed, and behold, he stood by the river. He saw 7 cows come up out of the river, beautiful in appearance and fat-fleshed, and they fed among the reeds. Then 7 more cows came up after them from the river, ugly and thin-fleshed, and stood by the other cows on the river bank. The ugly and thin-fleshed cows ate up the 7 beautiful and fat cows. Then Pharah awoke. He fell asleep again and dreamed a second time. Behold, 7 heads of grain came up on one stalk, full and good. Then 7 thin heads, scorched by the east wind, sprang up after them. The thin heads swallowed up the 7 full and good heads. Then Pharah awoke, and behold, it was a dream. In the morning, his spirit was troubled. So he sent for all the magicians of Matsrym and all its wise men. Pharah told them his dream, but no one could interpret them for him. Then the chief cupbearer spoke to Pharah, saying, Today I remember my faults. When Pharah was angry with his servants, he put me in custody in the house of the captain of the guard, both me and the chief baker. We each dreamed a dream on the same night, he and I, and each dream had its own interpretation. A young Hebrew man, a servant of the captain of the guard, was with us. We told him our dreams, and he interpreted them for us. To each man he gave the meaning of his dream, and just as he interpreted for us, so it happened. Pharah restored me to my position, and he hanged the other man. Then Pharah sent and called Yahusaph. They brought him hastily out of the dungeon. He shaved, changed his clothes, and came before Pharah. Pharah said to Yahusaph, I have dreamed a dream, and no one can interpret it. But I have heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. Yahusaph answered Pharah, It is not in me. Elohim will give Pharah an answer of shalom. Pharah said to Yahusaph, In my dream I stood on the bank of the river. Behold, 7 cows came up out of the river, fat-fleshed and beautiful in appearance, and they fed among the reeds. Then 7 other cows came up after them, poor, very ugly, and thin-fleshed, such as I have never seen in all the land of Matsrym for ugliness. The thin and ugly cows ate up the first 7 fat cows, but after they had eaten them, it could not be known that they had eaten them, for they were still as ugly as before. Then I awoke. I also saw in my dream 7 heads of grain, full and good, come up on one stalk. Then 7 thin heads, scorched by the east wind, sprang up after them. The thin heads swallowed up the 7 good heads. I told this to the magicians, but no one could explain it to me. Yahusaph said to Pharah, Pharah's dreams are one. Elohim has shown Pharah what he is about to do. The 7 good cows are 7 years, and the 7 good heads are 7 years. The dreams are one. The 7 thin and ugly cows that came up after them are 7 years, and the 7 empty heads scorched by the east wind are 7 years of famine. This is the matter I have spoken to Pharah. Elohim has shown Pharah what he is about to do. Behold, 7 years of great abundance are coming throughout all the land of Matsrym, but 7 years of famine will follow them, and all the abundance in the land of Matsrym will be forgotten. The famine will ravage the land. The abundance in the land will not be remembered because of the famine that follows, for it will be very severe. The dream was repeated to Pharah because the matter is firmly established by Elohim, and Elohim will bring it to pass shortly. Now, therefore, let Pharah look for a discerning and wise man, and set him over the land of Matsrym. Let Pharah appoint overseers over the land to collect 1/5 of the produce of the land of Matsrym during the 7 years of abundance. Let them gather all the food of these good years and store up grain under the authority of Pharah to be kept in the cities for food. This food shall serve as a reserve for the land during the 7 years of famine, which will be in the land of Matsrym, so that the land may not perish during the famine. The proposal pleased Pharah and all his servants. Pharah said to his servants, Can we find a man like this, in whom is the spirit of Elohim? Pharah said to Yahusaph, Since Elohim has shown you all this, there is no one as discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house, and all the people shall obey your commands. Only in respect to the throne will I be greater than you. Pharah said to Yahusaph, Behold, I have set you over all the land of Matsrym. Pharah took off his signet ring from his hand and put it on Yahusaph's hand. He dressed him in fine linen and put a gold chain around his neck. He made him ride in the second chariot, and they called out before him, "Bow the knee!" Thus he set him over all the land of Matsrym. Pharah said to Yahusaph, "I am Pharah, and without your consent no one shall lift a hand or foot in all the land of Matsrym." Pharah called Yahusaph's name Saphanath Phanach, and gave him Asenath, daughter of Pharah, priest of On, as a wife. So Yahusaph went out over all the land of Matsrym. Yahusaph was 30 years old when he stood before Pharah, sovereign of Matsrym. He went throughout all the land of Matsrym. During the 7 years of abundance, the land produced plentifully. Yahusaph collected all the food of the 7 years and stored it in the cities, placing food from the surrounding fields in each city. He stored up grain in great abundance, like the sand of the sea, until he stopped measuring because it was beyond measure. Before the years of famine came, 2 sons were born to Yahusaph, whom Asenath bore to him. Yahusaph named the firstborn Manasseh, saying, "Elohim has made me forget all my hardship in my father's house." He named the second Ephraim, saying, "Elohim has made me fruitful in the land of my affliction." The 7 years of abundance in the land of Matsrym came to an end, and the 7 years of famine began, as Yahusaph had said. There was famine in all the lands, but in the land of Matsrym there was bread. When all the land of Matsrym was hungry, the people cried out to Pharah for bread. Pharah said, "Go to Yahusaph, do what he tells you." The famine spread over all the earth, and Yahusaph opened all the storehouses and sold grain to the Matsrym, for the famine was severe in the land. All countries came to Matsrym to buy grain from Yahusaph, because the famine was severe throughout the earth. Barashyth, Genesis chapter 42. When Yaakov saw that there was grain in Matsrym, he said to his sons, "Why are you looking at each other?" He continued, "Look, I have heard that there is grain in Matsrym. Go down there and buy some for us, so that we may live and not die." So Yahusaph's 10 brothers went down to buy grain in Matsrym. But Yaakov did not send Benjamin, Yahusaph's brother, with him, for he said, "Lest some harm comes to him." The sons of Yashar'al went to buy grain among others who journeyed, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. Now Yahusaph was the governor over the land. It was he who sold grain to all the people of the land. Yahusaph's brothers came and bowed down before him with their faces to the ground. Yahusaph recognized his brothers when he saw them, but he acted as a stranger to them and spoke harshly, saying, "Where have you come from?" They answered, "From the land of Canaan, to buy food." Although Yahusaph recognized his brothers, they did not recognize him. Then Yahusaph remembered the dreams he had dreamed about them and said, "You are spies. You have come to see the nakedness of the land." But they said to him, "No, my master, your servants have come to buy food. We are all sons of one man. We are trustworthy men. Your servants are not spies." Yet he said to them, "No, you have come to see the nakedness of the land." But they replied, "Your servants are 12 brothers, sons of one man in the land of Canaan. The youngest is with our father today, and one is no more." Then Yahusaph said to them, "It is as I said to you, you are spies. By this you shall be proven. By the life of Pharah, you will not leave this place unless your youngest brother comes here. Send one of you to bring your brother, and the rest of you will be kept in prison, so that your words may be tested to see whether there is truth in you. Otherwise, by the life of Pharah, you are spies." So he put them all together in prison for 3 days. On the 3rd day, Yahusaph said to them, "Do this and live, for I fear Elohim. If you are trustworthy men, let one of your brothers remain confined in prison, while the rest of you go and carry grain back for the famine in your households. But bring your youngest brother to me, so that your words may be confirmed, and you will not die." And they agreed to do so. Then they said to one another, "Truly, we are guilty concerning our brother. For we saw the distress of his soul when he pleaded with us, but we would not listen. This is why this distress has come upon us." Ra'uban replied, "Did I not say to you, do not sin against the boy? But you would not listen. Now his blood is required of us." They did not recognize that Yahusaph understood them, for he spoke to them through an interpreter. Yahusaph turned away from them and wept, but he returned to speak to them again. He took Shamaun from them and bound him before their eyes. Then Yahusaph gave orders to fill their sacks with grain, to return every man's silver to his sack, and to give them provisions for the journey. This was done for them. They loaded their donkeys with the grain and departed from there. But at the lodging place, one of them opened his sack to feed his donkey, and he saw his silver in the mouth of the sack. He said to his brothers, "My silver has been returned. It is here in my sack." Their hearts sank, and trembling, they turned to one another, saying, "What is this that Elohim has done to us?" When they came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan, they told him everything that had happened, saying, "The man who was the master of the land spoke harshly to us and accused us of spying on the land. But we said to him, 'We are trustworthy men. We are not spies. We are 12 brothers, sons of one father. One is no more. The youngest is now with our father in the land of Canaan.' Then the man, the master of the land, said to us, 'By this I will know you are trustworthy. Leave one of your brothers with me, take food for your households, and go. But bring your youngest brother to me, so that I will know you are not spies but trustworthy men. Then I will release your brother to you, and you may trade in the land.' As they emptied their sacks, there in each man's sack was his bundle of silver. When they and their father saw the bundles of silver, they were afraid. Jacob their father said to them, 'You have bereaved me. Yahusaph is no more. Shamaun is no more, and now you want to take Benjamin? All this has come against me.' Then Reuben said to his father, 'You may put the lives of my 2 sons to death, if I do not bring him back to you. Entrust him into my care, and I will return him to you.' But Jacob said, 'My son will not go down with you, for his brother is dead, and he alone is left. If harm comes to him on the journey you are taking, you will bring my gray hair down to the grave in sorrow.'" Thank you for joining me to gather today's portion. May we continue seeking Yahuwah through his word and growing in the knowledge of him one day at a time until Yahusha gathers us. Shalom.